fundamental distinctions that you make in your work is the distinction between the personality and the essence of the human being. Could you elaborate on that?
That's, I think, a very important distinction to make, especially when somebody really want to explore their spirituality and interest in spiritual development. It's like how we experience ourselves. You know, everyday experience of ourselves, we call it the self. Now, this experience of the self, the way I see it, the way I understand it, is usually the experience, what's called the personality. The personality in this case means what we have taken on, what we have adopted, what we have developed of ourselves, all what we've borrowed, all the conditioning from childhood, all the experiences that has produced in us something now that we believe is us, that we become, be, present to the world and interact with. That's the personality. Essence means not something that we learned, not something we've taken from someplace, but something that we come with. But not come with in the sense of historically. I mean come with in the sense of fundamental nature, in the sense of like my body, for instance, is made out of atoms, right? So when I talk about essence, I mean what is the essence of the self? What is the essence of the person? What is the essence of the human being? Which means if we really look completely into the human being, into the self, and if we try to open up the personality, it becomes like a shell, really, around us. If we penetrate to go to the depth, so we could see completely clearly without any obscuration, we'll see what I call the essence, our essence, the essence of the human being, or the essence of the person, which in this case, in spiritual tradition is being called true nature, for instance, or spirit.
Yeah. The spirit. You've, in some of your discussions, you've used the phrase, I think it comes from the Sufi tradition of being in the world, but not of it. And that might be a way to capture the essence somehow.
Yeah, very good. That's a very good, actually, way of looking at it. In the sense that our essence, or the essence of the human being, is the part of us, right? The pure, inherent, intrinsic part that is in the world, that makes us be in the world. But it is not something that has come from the world. It's not a part that we have adopted from the world. It's not something we put on ourselves. It's not something we introjected. It's not something we internalized. Like many of our feelings, our patterns, our habits, our traits, our qualities have a lot to do with what happened to us in the past. So a lot of it is a reaction, or learning through imitation, or learning through identification, or we love somebody if we become like them one way or another. So that all these come from the world. While the essence is the purity within us, the spiritual, that's what we mean by spiritual, basically, or what I mean by spiritual. It is the purity, the inherent purity that is, if I look completely closely, it is there. It is what I am at this moment, apart from what I have taken from. In other words, the essence is the timeless in a human being. But the timeless that is always here, always now. So essence is in the world in some sense. Or it is how I can be in the world without being of it.
Now, I think it's fair to say that in society at large, most people identify mostly with the personality level. They may not even think of themselves in terms of their essence. And modern psychological theory has very little to say, if anything at all, except for writers such as yourself, about the essence.
Yes, unfortunately, I would say, because our essence is really also our humanness. In the sense, it is the source of our human qualities. It's the source of what makes us gentle, what makes us loving, what makes us, kind, what makes us be considerate to somebody else, what makes us be selfless. It comes from the essence. There is no other way. You see, and that understanding is missing in the in the popular culture as a whole, and definitely missing in modern psychology.